got some work to do now. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We need some help from you now. Come on, Scooby-Doo, I see you.
Hey, my name's Jonathan Joseph, and you're watching Talk to Me, a Prowl Radio interview segment. And today I'm joined by none other than Milwaukee's own Roulette.
Hello.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Ahoy. What's up?
How are y'all? How are things?
Hanging in there.
Yeah.
I'm doing
stupendous and tremendous.
That's big.
Yeah.
It goes.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, for starters, if you guys could go on a line and say your name and what you do for the band.
I'm Joe Schleiss. I'm the drummer.
I'm Vincent Deasane. I play bass.
I'm Samir. I'm on a guitar. I play it.
I'm Elijah, and I am the vocalist.
Right. So, for starters, 2023 has been a massive year for you guys. Going through your discography, you guys had a single release in March, I believe, and then the album in September 1st, and then just like a couple weeks ago, October 27th, two singles, Pollen and Freedom's Death. What made 2023 the year for you guys to just drop all of that music?
I think it was like everything before that was just writing, because we weren't even really playing shows, so we just got to a point where we had like so much material, and then it was like as soon as we found the time during the summer to like get into the studio and make it happen, then it was just like it was all there already. All the songs were ready, so like the actual time spent in the studio recording I Don't Know These People was very short. We would like really bang those songs out because we had them like very down by that point.
So was the release of Again and Again just sort of like for you guys to just get something out there? Because I noticed that wasn't on I Don't Know These People.
Yeah, we kind of just wanted to put something out because it had been a buildup of all this. You said all these songs that we'd been working on, and we wanted like a full album with all these songs, but I don't know, we were kind of antsy to just get something out, just to be like, hey, this is us, this is Roulette.
Because it was terrible so often for people to be like, oh, I'm in a band, and then people are like, what do you guys sound like? What do you do? And we don't have, we had like a YouTube recording of a show in a basement, and like
That was it.
that doesn't give us the best presentation.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, it was nice to just have something to give people. Like,
Right, makes sense. Yeah, so talking about the album, when I was listening through the whole record, I noticed a lot of different sort of genre influences, a lot from like punk and sort of this like a lot of melodic pop rock kind of riffs you guys were throwing in there. What are some like major musical influences for all you guys as musicians? Like any albums or bands that sort of come to mind?
Maybe it would be good to break that down song by song, since there's like.
It's pretty eclectic.
Because I could actually name something for every.
This is
song,
why we
actually.
can't play covers. We can't agree on what everyone
What the
has
sound
such
is.
different tastes for
Yeah,
everything.
that's true.
Yet that kind of comes together because then you kind of have like a hodgepodge of all these different inspirations, and then it comes together in kind of a cohesive song.
Right.
Like the album opener, like Kenny's Life, that's very punk influenced, screamy, pounding, mean. Which I mean, I don't know how to like get to where that came from, but
Okay, yeah, for it to be like more specific, I think King Cruel is probably my greatest inspiration, and his music in itself is a synthesis of a lot of things, and it's like finding that space in between like jazz and like punk music and rock, where like it's heavy but it has some like melodic theme or some development and like a chord progression that's interesting and it's like colorful. I think Interpol was really big for me too, their album Untitled. Because they're also like, they had two guitarists, but like just trying to really like fill up a space with just drums and bass and guitar and vocals, and like it was like, I think shortly after I listened to Interpol's Untitled for the first time that I wrote Headaches.
I would say Headaches is very post-punk.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a genre I think we kind of floated around in when we were like starting out.
Right.
But I think for like some of our more like poppy songs, and I wrote a lot of those with like the Beatles, the Kinks, kind of make it very like la la la. But then also, I don't know, then you kind of come back to, I think on Loser for Love, there's some distortion on there which adds to like the, I don't know, kind of like a back and forth.
Any influences for you two?
I mean, for my drumming, like my main influences have been like Led Zeppelin, Dave Grohl, and Foo Fighters, and then also in Nirvana. Also Queens of the Stone Age. The drumming from those 3 rock bands has influenced most of the stuff on the album and the 2 singles. But then also just listening to these guys and then seeing what they offer, and then whatever ideas I get from that has been what's been on the songs.
It's sort of like a melting pot. Like when we have an idea, then it kind of gets churned like a stew, and then the final result is in the bowl.
Yeah. For my bass stuff, the hole I try to fill, like with my bass playing, is like, I don't know, I just try to make my bass lines memorable, like kind of like Gorillaz do. I love the bass lines that they have in their songs. Sometimes very simple, but they're very memorable, and I like the role that bass plays in their songs, so that's what I try to do sometimes, Yeah, so facts.
Very memorable.
Yeah, very
Yeah, I
memorable.
remember it.
Yeah. So, sort of going off the idea of this sort of being like a synthesis of a bunch of different genres, how exactly did, I don't know, these people sort of come around? Like, did the songs themselves sort of come from like a massive writing session or like a jam session, or was it just sort of like a slower process?
It was from kind of like a prolonged, like their songs, Don't Talk, Kenny's Life, and Libido were like the first songs that we wrote, and those are on the album. And then I think like Sweet Substance was like the last song that we had written, like just a few months before the album. So it's like, it kind of extends from like when we first started up to when we were like, okay, this is enough songs for this album. So I guess that stretches like over like a year period that we kind of wrote songs for the album.
Yeah, I think Samir brought like almost all the ideas to the table, like the initial ideas, and we just kind of added onto that. You had like most of the stuff brewing beforehand, right?
Yeah, so I mean, a big part of my guitar practice is just improvisation. Like I'll tune and then I'll put a drone track on, or I'll just play like by myself or with the metronome and record it. And so I like have like 40 voice recordings in my phone, and like a bunch of, if you look at my gallery, it's like all me playing guitar, because I'll just like, anytime I come across something that I like, I'll like hold on to it and then bring it to practice. Or I mean, improvising and like jamming is a big part of our actual practice as a band together too. So sometimes a song will come together just from that, like us getting together in the moment, and sometimes it's something that I like brought in, but it's both. Like not Loser for Love, I always get these 2 songs
To Live and Die.
To Live and Die, we wrote in like one practice session. Like we just started playing and the song kind of like wrote itself.
Nice, very cool. So the album came out September 1st of this year, and then I know the day after you guys had an album release show at the Falcon Bowl.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. How did that go?
That was a great time. We had Chapped Lips, Alternative Radio, and the Living Johnsons, and I don't know, it was just a sort of a cathartic event, because it was like, we just put out the album, we're gonna we played the whole album through,
Oh,
and
that's amazing.
our kind of thinking for that was like, we'll put out the album a day before, so people can listen to it and then maybe come to the show and like, oh, I know that one. That was my my favorite one. But we also had a light show for that. It was like people mixing like the oil plates and stuff, so
Ooh.
it was really trippy.
That's awesome.
I had mono for that show, which sucked. I had to sit down for a couple of the songs because I was so winded, but you know what? The show must go on. I got through
Yeah,
it.
we carried on.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
You're a trooper for that.
Yeah,
Damn.
thank you.
So continuing on, I wanted to talk about the 2 new singles you guys released, Pollen and Freedom's Death. How would you say the sort of like music writing process for those differed or was similar in any way from the album itself?
I remember that came from, you had just a bunch of riffs, like we had like a drive folder on Google Drive where we kind of like just throw ideas.
Yeah.
And he had a riff on there that was like, oh, I like that. And Pollen came from a poem that I wrote. And I think just in one time I was like, okay, let's put that to that. And then we kind of had like this bare bones structure. And then we were like, okay, let's build off of that. And I think same with Freedom's Death, that was just kind of, I think it was called like Spray Bottle at first.
Yeah.
And we kind of then added to it. And then we had the idea to do it as, to put out as a single, because we just put out the album and we were like, we have ideas brewing and we kind of want to show people what's coming next.
Right.
A lot of the time, it's mostly like Samir will he'll upload all of his riffs. We'll like listen through them. We'll all like say which ones we like, and then at practice he'll just like play it. We'll jam on it.
Yeah.
And then a structure will build from what we jam with, and then whatever we like, we record our practices too, so we can listen back and parts we like. We'll remember.
And then I mean, except for the very ending of Pollen, I remember at first it was just like, I just want to do something where we like slow down and like build it back up, and for a while I hadn't even really known what I was gonna play there. It was kind of just like Joe doing something on the drums, and he was like basically leading it, and it wasn't really until we were like in the studio that I finally settled on what I was gonna play. I want to work more of these kind of like we don't record to a metronome. So I want to like really take advantage of that to like push and pull the tempo and do that kind of like rubato expressive playing, and that was something that I really wanted to explore on that song.
That's awesome. So, next question, bit of a chill one, bit of a fun one. You will need your phones for this.
Okay.
What is the last song you've listened to?
Let me see.
It can be any streaming service or whatever. We have zero preferences.
Sub by Deeper. I really like their last album. What was it? Autopain? And they just came out with a new one, so I've been listening to their new album, which is pretty good.
Paranoid Android by Radiohead.
Oh, nice.
OK Computer is like my favorite.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite albums.
Is there a way to see the exact last song? Because I'm just
Give me the one you're doing right now.
Liked songs.
I was listening to Attack Ships on Fire by the Revolting Cocks, who they are
Wow.
they're like an industrial metal band, but they were kind of the sister project of Ministry. I don't know if you're.
I think I've heard of Ministry.
Okay.
It sounds.
It was like they just kind of would get bored with Ministry, and then they would just go off and do another.
Yeah.
They have like a bunch of different kind of, I don't know the word for it, but just like they're like, we're gonna do something different, put it on their label. So.
Yeah. Damn.
The last thing I have on my Spotify was Ne m'en voulez pas by Khaled, who's a French-Algerian pop star from the 80s.
Wow.
I was doing a little like deep dive on Rai,
Yeah.
which is that genre, which is like French-Algerian music.
It's very cool. Need to check that out.
They said DJ Khaled.
No, the word's shed, which means like, it means singer, I think, in Arabic, like singer-songwriter. It's a title, not a name.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. So next question for you guys. So I know you guys have played a lot of really cool shows, such as that New Year's Eve show at the Washroom that had like an 8-band lineup or something.
Yeah. And we opened for that, which there was like a decent amount of people.
Yeah.
For being, because they went past midnight. Yeah, we opened at like 5.
Jesus. But yeah, I know that, the Falcon Ball, and like a bunch of others. So what would you guys say is your favorite show you've played so far?
High Dive.
Yeah, we played High Dive like, was that a few weeks ago? And that crowd was moving.
Yeah.
It was violent in there.
Yeah. But in a good violence.
I got my guitar unplugged at some point. It was like because someone came flying in, and it was like, yeah. I always appreciate the people who are at the front of the crowd who act as security for the band. They're like holding everybody back.
Yeah.
It's so important. There's been so many times where I'm in a mosh pit and I go flying and some like 6'8" giant saves my life.
It was also fun because it was there wasn't really a stage. I think the drums were just on the stage, so we were just like right there.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like just right with the people. That's
It was
awesome.
like 3 feet away. It was
Yeah.
great.
Very intimate.
Yeah.
We're playing Washroom next week, and then we have High Dive in like 3 weeks after that.
Yeah, they canceled that show.
Oh,
They
we
just did,
canceled.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
not playing that.
Okay, well, we got
But
Washroom.
we were playing
Yeah,
Washroom the
There
day
you go.
before or after Thanksgiving.
It's the Saturday after this.
Okay, so it's gonna be kind of like a Thanksgiving themed show.
Yeah. Show up dressed in turkey.
Yeah.
Pilgrim outfits.
Oh,
Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. So up next, I wanted to ask, how is sort of like, so you guys are like hodgepodge of a lot of different genres, a lot of different styles. How does sort of like improv work in that sort of sense? How does the sort of synthesis actually come about in like a practice setting or something?
I see it sort of like painting, where it's like you have an idea, but you haven't actually yet done anything. You just kind of have to start going with the steps, and then eventually, maybe you see it form, or maybe it's done. I mean, that's sort of, when is it done? When is what you've created finished? Because I know sometimes we kind of attach ideas. Like when you're in the studio, there were times where it's like, okay, let's not do that. We're gonna do something, or I'm gonna add this part, or. So I guess when we practice, it sort of emulates that.
Yeah, I think the most important part of the improvisation in writing is the ability to listen and like really pay attention to what everybody else is doing and find a way to respond to it or comment on it or like build it up in a way that's meaningful. And what's his name? Chick Corea, one of his rules for improvising was, or for playing music in general, was only play what you hear. If you don't hear anything, don't play anything. So it's kind of like hearing, like it's just whoever's playing first. So like we just, as we're setting up, whoever's done setting up first is playing, and then we jump in on that, and it's like, I don't know, it's really interesting watching something come from like being in like your mind's ear from some imagined song out into the real world is like a really fun process.
Definitely.
And like really mysterious too, because sometimes sometimes I feel really like I'm playing what I want to, and then sometimes it's a mistake, but it sounds cool and it sticks. So
Awesome. So you guys have played with a bunch of different really cool bands, such as Chapped Lips and like Diet Light. What is like what are some of your favorite parts about being in the sort of local Milwaukee scene? What are some aspects you guys really enjoy?
I just really like meeting all the other band members. There's some really cool people. I really like playing with the Ergo. They're not exactly like, I know
Madison.
from Madison. One of them lives near to Milwaukee, but we played with them at Last Rites. Those guys are really cool. Really like meeting them. So yeah, just like meeting people. I really like meeting all the different dudes.
There's a community that sort of goes around. There's people that, I think for like a good example is like Scam Likely. They run Washroom,
Yeah.
so it's like they're a band, yet they're also kind of welcoming in bands to play, and they're kind of housing that basement venue. And it's also like, I think Milwaukee as a city is very big, yet is very small. So
Right.
it's like you run into the same people. You'll be at a show and you'll say, "Oh, that band is now just part of the audience," and you get to know people pretty well. And I don't know. Like Vince said, it's just fun finding people.
It's also cool to see like other ideas that bands are bringing out, and also the energy they bring. Like at our album show, the guy from Chapped Lips, he smashed his guitar on stage. So it's cool to see what other people are bringing to like the show.
Yeah, the Milwaukee scene's very eclectic too. There's a lot of, because I know there's like some death metal going on. There's a lot of punk. There's a pretty big country influence too. I know a lot of bands are going down that route. But then it's like everyone's just, we're all in the same city. We're all doing the same thing. So it's cool to see that kind of come together.
Yeah, and sometimes you end up on a bill where it's like, well, I guess more times than not, we're on a bill where every band is doing a different thing.
Yeah.
Like we've played a handful of shows with alternative radio, and they're doing like a rockabilly thing now.
Right.
Which I don't think I could ever see happening with Roulette.
Hey, never say never.
Yeah.
But I think that's really cool. Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, I do, because I only go here for school, so I never grew up here, and it's been very fun, like, just seeing the whole scene and, like, really getting into it and seeing just how, like fucking cool everyone is. Like, everyone's just so nice and, like, friendly and welcoming. It's just beautiful. But yeah, anyway. So, next question. What is a dream venue for you guys that you'd want to play? Can be as big or as small as you want.
Summerfest.
Summerfest would be cool.
Yeah. I have to second that. Yeah.
Like you say in the anywhere.
Anywhere. It's a dream. Dream big.
Well, actually, I would say just in Milwaukee, it'd be cool to play Turner Hall, because there was a huge local show there where they sold out the whole place, and it was all a local bill.
Yeah.
So I think that. Oh, that would just be cool to play.
Yeah.
Be part of that. But I guess on a grander scale, let's play.
The moon.
Play the moon. You know what, that would be first band on the moon.
Roulette.
If you haven't seen it, watch King Cruel's Live on the Moon.
Have they already played?
Yeah. It's such an awesome set.
How did they
That
do
would be
that?
amazing. We get a little bubble. We get one of those
Yeah.
glass bubbles.
Yeah.
Play at that dome place.
Oh, it's
Play
Las
at the
Vegas,
Dome?
Mitchell.
No, I Las Vegas. That,
Oh,
the orb.
in the
Oh,
sphere.
in the sphere.
Okay, that would be pretty sick.
That'd be insane.
That'd be awesome. And you guys would have that whole ass screen in the back too. Just do
Yeah,
whatever.
what would we play?
You put your face on the screen.
Right. Awesome. All right, and I think this will be final question. So, apples or oranges?
Apples.
Apples.
Oranges, because it represents a color. I think that's kind of cool. Apple doesn't have that.
Would you ever pick up an orange to eat next to an apple?
Think about it. I have to get inside of the orange. So if there's... Oh, I thought you meant if there's an orange on the ground. Think about it. If there's an apple on the ground, are you going to eat that? You have to bite into the dirt.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Orange it's hidden. It's secure.
But that apple's red delicious.
There's something about the sensory experience of peeling an orange, which is so awesome. All of that, getting sprayed into the air. It just smells I love the smell of oranges. Oranges, yeah. Oranges over apples easily.
Yeah.
Whenever I eat an orange, my fingers get all sticky. I don't like it. Apples are meant for eating on the go. They were designed for that, I swear. It's awesome.
But if we're being honest, I think pears overrule.
No.
Yeah, dude,
no.
pears
That's
are
an interesting take.
amazing. I'm a pear enthusiast, actually.
What is it about pears that does it for you?
It's a green fruit. It's the taste of the
You're
pear.
obsessed with the color.
It's the shape of the pear. I don't know, I think
You didn't mention taste.
it's the taste, too. I mean, think about it. You can envision what a pear... Actually, you can't. That's the mysteriousness of it. I kind of struggle to figure out what a pear tastes like.
I feel like I can think of a green pear pretty easily. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Kinda
Maybe
looks
that's just
looks
me.
like a snowman a little bit.
Okay.
Any specific reason for the apple? Or
It tastes better.
just cool.
It does.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Not all apples are created equal.
That is true.
There's a lot
That's
of
true.
garbage apples.
This is true.
It's a lot
That's
of
a hot take.
I don't know how often I pick up an apple and it's grainy and I don't and too sweet. I don't really like that. Happens pretty often.
Apple slices and peanut butter.
Apple juice is good.
Orange juice.
Orange
over
juice
apples.
is fine.
Orange juice is better.
Agreed.
as a
Yeah.
child, I would have
But-
apple juice and pretend it's
I like
rum.
So I'm glad we had that conversation.
It is.
So important.
Mhm.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for doing this. I'm Jonathan Joseph with Prowl Radio. This is Roulette. If you guys have anything you want to plug, any socials, any upcoming shows, do it now, please.
Roulette.band is our Instagram, and that's where we are centralized.
We post hilarious videos.
Look at our Spotify.
Oh, and listen to Pollen. It's a beautiful song.
Yes.
And Freedom Stuff.
And freedoms.
And our album.
Right on. Well, Thank you all for watching. See you in the next one.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye bye.